podcast. As always, to my left, I'm joined with Chris Lato for Reaper Film.
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy, howdy.
Usually it's just one howdy and then it's two howdy. Okay. We're just multiplying now.
What would you like me to say, Tony?
Yeah.
What's up? Or, there you go. Yo. Or, I think you started the show, the original, where you were saying, I think you used to say that, yeah.
Say yo.
Yeah. We used to do that. And to my other left, Joe Davidson. Yo, what's up? Yo!
You like that?
Yeah, that was good.
Right.
That was good. I bet you came out.
Yeah. What's up? What's up out there, people? Podcast land, wherever the hell you are.
Podcast land.
Shout out to Turkey.
And Joe, we have a special guest today.
We do. World renowned, world traveler, a Cannes Film Festival aficionado, and the film commissioner of Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Tyler Martinolich!
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. We're confusing with Tony Armour for a second there. I can in 10 years.
Well, no one knows that till now.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
I was talking about.
Illusion is broken.
Aww. The haze is gone. The starry eyes.
Do you have enough coffee, sir?
I do. So I didn't know how long the podcast was going to go for, so I've got like a bucket of coffee in front of me.
Nice.
Same.
Yeah, I gotta stop. We're sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts. Thank you.
We should be.
We are now.
I mean, I hope we are. They better send me something. I need some coffee.
Send me something.
Yeah. Bring a coffee pot to the studio.
Why don't you have one here?
I mean, I have a coffee pot. I'm not buying a Dunkin' Donuts pot. Whatever.
Paka. Anyways, sorry.
We get off on tangents.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's
That's right. I've known Joe a long time. I know how he is.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This is an adorable face that people love. So.
Fun fact, I actually, when the film commissioner position was available, I actually applied for it.
Yeah, it looks like
Did you?
And Tyler beat me out.
Yeah, well, he's hesitating as a kid.
No. I didn't even apply.
even better.
Even better. He has several degrees,
Of course.
knowledge,
And I got nothing.
things.
Yeah, they actually came to me, or the film commissioner at the time was Dale Gordon, and she tracked me down and was like, hey, you want a job? I was like, sure. Why not?
Yeah,
Health insurance is nice.
I remember Dale.
Oh, yeah, health insurance is wonderful nowadays.
Yeah, what's she doing now? I wonder. Is she still working at One Buck Place?
No, man. She moved up to Asheville. I don't know what she's doing up there. I think she's working with the Chamber of Commerce or something like that.
Oh wow.
Everybody's moving to Asheville. Like
North
what's
Carolina?
going on there?
NC.
I know so many people that have moved there or are moving there.
Yeah, a friend of mine just bought a house up there.
I literally know probably like 6 people that have moved to Asheville in the last 3 years.
All filmmakers?
Crazy.
Maybe it's incentives.
I don't know what it is.
Oh,
What's a film incentive?
No, I don't know. Let's talk to Tyler about that. That's a good question.
Do we have film incentives?
Ask Tyler.
Yeah. Getting us. Well, it's not his fault if we don't.
No, but film incentives are the dirty secret of the film industry. So it's not really an incentive. It's actually part of the financing itself. We just call it incentives to make ourselves feel better about it. But Florida does not have any. Most of the nation does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and why is that, you think? Is it just because of the politics in the
Or it's
area?
not.
Or it's...
No, I mean, well, look. So Florida's been a Republican state for a very long time. It was started, the previous program, we actually had film incentives under a Republican governor. It was continued under a Democratic, or I guess independent governor with Charlie Crist. And it was going until 2015, and it just lapsed and no one put it back into place. So if you look at the states with the most lucrative incentives, they're all Republican held. So this really isn't a political issue. It's an ideological issue, and right now in the state of Florida, the legislature that's in power right now just does not believe in incentives. They're not anti-film, they're just anti-incentive in general.
Do you think that's because we have Disney World and all these other things that bring people to the state that they don't really care about bringing film here?
No, I mean, it's not really that. It's more just an issue with our budget as a state. So we don't have a state income tax. So we just can't print money. We have a finite amount of money every year for our statewide budget, and we have a balanced budget agenda every year. So we can't defer our spending to another year or run debt. So we have to have a balanced budget. So when the legislature is looking at how to deploy the money, it's do I rob Peter to pay Paul here or there? And it's a real hard case to say, well, we're going to take money away from schools to give to filmmakers. We're going to take money away from healthcare to give to filmmakers. The money's got to come from someplace. They just can't raise taxes on it.
Is it truly?
So it's an issue. I understand where they're coming from and the idea behind not having incentives. But it's a shame when Florida was literally built on film and now we're not supporting it anymore.
Yeah. Is it truly a debt if like an outside state production is coming here and bringing all this money to our community? How is that a debt? If it's
well, it depends on who is in the governor's office and how they define economic development.
Yeah.
So, for example, when they're doing a return on investment scoring or audit of our film incentive program, either the one we're trying to get past or our previous program, they don't take into account film-induced tourism. So that's not a multiplier that they factor into the ROI. They don't include 1099 contract hires. That's not factored in the ROI. And think about the film industry at large. How many people are contract hires? 95% of the entire film industry.
Yeah.
So all those jobs, all that payroll, is not really factoring into the ROI. So on paper, because of the way we score the metrics, the film industry looks like a loss leader or a loser. Unfortunately, they just don't take into account all of the economic drivers that film can bring.
Are there any cities or counties in Florida that have incentive? I know Sarasota had it a while back.
Well, Sarasota had a rebate program for a while where they would rebate municipal costs. So if you needed cops or parking, I believe you had to pay for it first, and then after the fact, they would reimburse you for the cost. But right now, there's really only 3 counties in the state that have some sort of incentive. Pinellas County, which is St. Petersburg, Hillsborough County, which is Tampa, and then Miami-Dade. So those are the only 3 counties that actively go after productions of a certain size and scale that we give money to. The problem is that at the county level, our pockets are not very deep.
Yeah.
I think Pinellas County has around $1 million thereabouts to spend on incentives. Hillsborough County has about $500,000. And Miami-Dade, I think, well, they don't actually have a cap, but they don't give away a lot of money. So there just isn't enough dollars to be had at the county level to really incentivize projects at a certain level. Like, there's no way that Hillsborough County or Pinellas County or Miami can incentivize something like the Avengers, right? Like, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
You need a state to step in.
Yeah. Now, there's only so many film commissioners in the area. There's you for Tampa, Tony for St. Pete with Tony Armour, and then I don't know who's in Miami. Does Orlando have a film commissioner?
So here's an interesting thing. So whether people know what a film commission is or not, we're basically in charge of logistics for productions, permitting for productions. We're, I guess, the DMV for filmmakers is the best way to describe it. Most states have a statewide film commission and maybe like a satellite chapter. Like Georgia, for example, has their state film commission in Atlanta, and they have a smaller one in Savannah. Florida, because we were the number 3 filming destination in the world for a long time, we're structured very differently. So just about every single county in the state actually has a film commissioner or a film commission. So, I mean, unless you're talking like a Hardy County, which is so small, it's hard to find on the map, not to be offensive to Hardy County, but like most large or even moderately sized counties in Florida have a film commissioner. So anywhere you go, you'll find one.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Now, when all the incentives were actually active, you said they ended in like 2015. What was the actual budget accountability for that? Like, how much was the actual realistic figure that they were using each year that that just disappeared after 2015?
So it was started in 2010, was when we launched our official film incentive program. I think it was for about $36 million. And the program lasted through 2015. They actually ran out of money in 2014, but the program itself, as far as statutorily goes, ended in 2015. And that helped incentivize tons and tons of films to come to the state. At the 36 million mark, that's enough money to attract like an Avengers or a Transformers sized movie to the state. It was nowhere near what Georgia was spending or Louisiana was spending. We were at least playing in the same sandbox.
Yeah, absolutely. You actually have like some of the fight in that. You have some fight to get some of the big producers.
Yeah, and then the divide is just crazy. You think about it, 36 million at the state level to Hillsborough County, which is what I represent, 500,000. Like there's just no comparison.
Right.
Yeah, and why is it divvied out like that? There's no rhyme or reason for how it's divvied out?
Well, I mean, you mean the old program, how it was given out?
Yeah, like how did St. Pete end up with $1 million in Tampa?
Oh, well, so it goes from the funding. So right now, most of the incentives are coming from what we call bed tax money, which is a tax that someone visiting the state would see on their bill at a hotel. If you think about St. Petersburg, they have a lot more hotels than Hillsborough County does, or Tampa does. In fact, they almost double the inventory of hotel rooms that we do. So they collect a lot more bed tax, which is why their budget's bigger.
Oh,
So you said that ended in 2015. Like why would like the infiltrator come here and shoot if there was no incentive?
We gave the infiltrator a lot of money. So that was the first year. The infiltrator, by the way, is the Bryan Cranston film that shot in Tampa Bay. You had Benjamin Bratt, John Leguizamo. It was a decent film. But it was budgeted at, I think, 27 million was the budget. So again, not like an Avengers style movie, but it still had a very healthy budget for quote unquote independent film. But we gave them a lot of cash. We gave them $500,000 essentially to come and film in Tampa for 2 weeks. We only got the exteriors. Everything else was shot in London. But we at least at the $500,000 mark were able to get them for a couple of days.
that's insane to me.
So you gave them $500,000 to shoot here.
For 2 weeks, yeah.
And
Now they spent $2 million. So at the time, it was a program where we audited their books afterwards, so we know they spent that money here. So it's a pretty good return on investment.
Absolutely.
And it's someone at like the true independent level. Let's say $1 million, right? Not 27 million.
That's true.
To me, that's not a fuck.
To me, true independent is like 10 grand.
Well, that's.
I know that doesn't resonate with you, Joe.
Well,
But
do you?
If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Let me explain something, Chris. I started in 2007 making my first movie for no money.
Right.
I can't do it. You can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. But
It's not sustainable.
I'd rather make
true.
a profit.
Right. Well, me too. That's the goal. My point is that for someone at the $10,000 mark, there's no reason to try to get into incentives. You're not gonna.
Right.
You can't get there.
Of course not.
Right. And then you.
Joe, that's not, well, I mean, I don't want to dispute you, but like I just gave a filmmaker in Tampa, he's making a movie for $10,000. I gave him $2,500. I mean, that's something.
Well, that's all right, fine. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
My point, Tyler, was that on the true independent level, you're coming in with $1 million. It almost is. It seems like a lot of work to jump through the hoops of getting the incentive.
You're not wrong.
When you're trying to work and you got to fill out. It takes 6 months, 8 months to get this stuff done. And guys like you, Chris, and myself, we're done with the movie by then. And we generally don't have the money to put up for staff to work on the project for 8 to 9 months to try to get this incentive back or whatever.
Exactly.
But also, that being said, I feel that we don't the way people look at incentives is wrong. I feel that the independent filmmakers in the area feel that they're always trying to get film here. We need film here in order to work. We need film. They think the answer is getting giant Hollywood pictures here.
I don't agree with that at all.
Well, me too. That's my point. Is they want to get these big budget movies in. Let's say The Infiltrator at 27 million, and they think they're gonna make
Work on it,
make millions, and
no,
they're not going to because we don't have the infrastructure here, and majority of our filmmakers in the area, I feel, struggle at having the proper knowledge to be on a proper set.
I don't even think that's it. I think they don't have the will to make their own stuff. That's the problem.
Well,
most of the people here are more. I mean, how many studios have popped up in the last 2 years around here? I mean, I can think of at least 5. And I don't know where they're getting. Like, what are they doing? Are they doing commercials?
Infomercials.
Yeah, right. So they would rather do a commercial that's bringing money into their studio than go out and make a feature film That's going to take
Well-
a hell of a lot of work, and you got to do it all by yourself.
Well, that's where I started. I started doing commercials and all that stuff, and I was able to get enough funding to upgrade my computers, upgrade my cameras.
Yeah, now you have a podcast.
And now
studio.
podcast, full studio,
Yeah.
you start with bringing money in, and then you build. It's like building capital, like working capital. That's what you're building up.
But my point is, Tyler, you probably see this every day, all day, where these independent guys are coming in trying to do these grandiose things, and you're just like scratching your head, going, "There's no way."
It's frustrating. So, I mean, it's not just Tampa Bay, but I think Florida in general has a misnomer that we don't have great crews.
Mhm.
We have fantastic crews, but they're commercial crews.
Yes.
And there's just no way a commercial crew is going to work on an independent film or even a moderately sized feature. Like an Infiltrator is, got a $27 million budget. That's because commercials pay 3 to 5 times more than the average rate, no matter what film you're working on.
Right.
There's people working on Avengers that are making less than some schmuck, lifting C-stands on a, $3-4 million Budweiser commercial. That's just the truth of it.
Right.
So you have these independent films come to the area. I won't name any, but a lot of them are paying minimum wage or maybe $10 an hour max. It's usually out of a 14-hour day, 6-day work week. And let's be honest, we've all done film sets before. I've done a ton of independent films, so have you, Joe. You're never working 14 hours. You're probably putting in 16, 17, 18 hours, God forbid.
Yeah.
And at that point, unless they're agreeing to pay overtime, and they're usually not, you're actually making less than the minimum wage.
Right.
So imagine trying to sell that pitch to a commercial crew that's probably making $650, $1,500 a day in some cases. There's no way they're going to turn that down. Especially when they have a mortgage or a rent due, they got kids, they got to put food on the table. So that is a hard thing to sell. And I think there's also this hype that the local media likes to do. And I understand we need clicks and newspapers are not doing great. So that anything that says, film or violence or crime, somehow that drives clicks. So film in particular, the Tampa Bay area is a huge driver of clicks for a lot of the local papers. So we have a low budget film, $400,000. It gets a ton of media attention, and everyone thinks that these big films are shooting here. They're not. They're very small films, and they're paying probably minimum wage or a little less depending on the hours they're working every day. And those are not well-run sets typically. It's because you're getting, I don't want to say, the D crew working on it, but it's usually very inexperienced people who are willing to work at those rates. And that conflates the idea that we have bad crews because people are hiring people for less than they're worth. They're getting crews that are not as experienced as the ones that they could be getting if they're paying a proper rate. So we get this horrible idea that we just don't have good crew in Florida, and that's just not true. We just don't have crew that would work on any of the independent films that come here.
Yeah. There's certain wages that we have to, actually have to take because we do have, food.
Some people have full-time jobs, and I get it, and but that makes it hard for the independent guys
like us
to achieve their goals because you.
Oh, totally. And going back to what you were originally asking, Joe, like I get film permits or people calling wanting to talk about creating an independent film all the time, and I'm sitting there looking at their project, and they have guns, explosions, airplanes. They need to shoot inside of an airport. They need to close down a stadium. They need 50,000 extras. I'm just looking at this like this might be cool in your head. It might even look good in the paper. There's no way you're doing this. Like, why are you bringing this to me? And it gets frustrating after a while. I wish people would write for their skill sets and what they can actually raise money for.
Yes.
That's the only way independent films actually get done. That's why a lot of people start in horror movies. Set it in a freaking house, man, where you don't have to have 40 locations. I know that's sort of pedantic, but the reality is, if you write a huge car chase that ends in an explosion, you're not going to be able to get it done, at least not for the budget you're able to actually raise. And that's just extremely frustrating, not just for me, but I think for any film commissioner in the state.
No, absolutely. Everyone has those big dreams of movies.
Any producer in the state who gets a project like that put in their lap, where someone wants to say, let's make a motorcycle movie for no money, and they think they can have all these stunts and that kind of stuff. It's really frustrating because when you try to explain to these guys that, like, listen,
They don't get it.
you can't shut down the Howard Franklin and do a motorcycle race. You can't do it. Like you need millions of dollars to back that.
Yeah, that's a great example. So the Howard Franklin, for those that are listening that are not in our area, is basically the main arterial connector between St. Pete and Tampa and goes over to Tampa Bay. It's 3 miles thereabouts. It is a huge major freeway. It costs about $1 million to close it down. We've done it before. You need $1 million to do it. That's cops. That's highway patrol. That's
You got to
Department of Transportation. That's the permits. It's all the stuff that goes into it. So don't tell me you want to close down the bridge unless you have $1 million for a location fee, because that's the minimum cost.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all have a script in our minds that have like these elaborate budgets, but we're just not there yet. But I know we each have a script, but we just know we're not there yet.
I have like 20 scripts.
You count that high?
Yeah, no. I was told it was 20.
Oh, okay.
I can remember well.
Oh, yay.
Yay.
1, 2, 5. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I've gone to Tyler a few
Yeah.
times with different projects that were taking off that eventually didn't happen here. And some of them were pretty big, but they were structurally set either like in one location, like a warehouse,
Yeah.
or set in the woods, or maybe 3 locations at the most.
Yeah.
I've never tried to like go and do something super grandiose like that, where it's
Like a locker room.
or I mean, you're trying to do a naked nudie scene in a locker room of a Christian school.
Well, I was at a Christian school,
Well,
so
but
I literally spent 4 months trying to find a locker room for like 3 scenes.
It's really difficult.
Couldn't find it.
Locker room.
I finally found one after 4 months. I finally found one. But I asked Tony and the other day if he knew
Not
of
me.
any film-friendly places, and he said, try some local gyms. I was like, oh, what a fucking genius.
yeah,
I was like, wow, why didn't I think
Yeah.
of that? After I'd already exhausted all of my,
everything
that I knew,
I'm
I
literally in the
exhausted
process right now of looking for a warehouse for a music video, an industrial style warehouse, and I don't think there's any available anymore. Tampa's out of them. They've all become condos. I mean, the best place in Tampa to shoot was Armature Works, and that's now like a food truck expo.
Yeah. And there was a ton off of Adamo right behind Ybor City, and all of those have been bought up now. They're turning them into lofts, or they're being torn down for new developments. It's just the price of progress, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's horrible. Find me a city that's collapsing.
You want to take a plane ride to Detroit?
I was just thinking about Detroit, I guess.
yeah, I know, right?
Oh.
That being said, with the project development and the fact that the #1 show on Netflix right now is called Selling Tampa, have you seen that show, Tyler?
I watched the first 2 episodes.
My wife is addicted to the show. Addicted. She's like,
It
to the
pulled
point
some
where
ridiculously big numbers for Netflix. And I think that happened partially because it premiered over like the holidays, so people were home, they had nothing else to do but binge. But they will definitely be back. And that's a weird trend for Florida right now, because we don't have statewide incentives. We have a lot of reality shows or unscripted series that come here. It's because unscripted is not incentivized at all.
Yeah. Well, my wife is up to the point now where she's like, where are they shooting? I know you know where they're shooting. I was like, first of all, I didn't even know it was a show.
I didn't either.
Second of all,
How about Tampa Bay's? That's another one.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, right. So, anyways, Tyler, any leads you could give me to where I can take my wife on a tour through Tampa to meet these women? My wife will.
I will tell you that show, I don't know if they come up for a 2nd and 3rd season, I'm actually sure they will. I don't know what they're going to do, because I think they exhausted just about every sports celebrity's house in the Bay Area
I'm sure.
to pull off the first season.
Yeah. Well, they can come to my house. It's not $1 million home, but they'll see some cool like props.
Yeah.
And by cool props, I mean like old dying props that are decaying and like shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But what did that do for the? It's going to do wonderful things to the Tampa Bay area, I would think.
Oh yeah, huge. I mean, anytime you can show off the area in a flattering way,
Dude,
even if the on-screen talent, gets in some drama, it's still being shot in a pretty place with, beautiful images of downtown, the waterfront. That's doing huge things for the market.
Even Rhonda Shear.
Tom Brady's just been a godsend to Tampa Bay area, not even for the Bucks. I mean, just for film and entertainment. Think of how many items that he endorses, whether it's Gillette or Hertz, or he has his own cryptocurrency now he's pushing. Like all of those commercials shoot here in town. He brought millions and millions of dollars to the area just by living in Tampa.
Yeah.
Does Diamond View get most of those?
Lightweight.
No, I'd say most of those are outside companies. Diamond View has their own clients. I mean, they have some very big ones, like Hostess, Mercedes-Benz, the Jeep, Chrysler. I mean, they have a lot of really good companies that work with them. In fact, Disney, all Disney Cruise Lines commercials were shot at View Studios here in town. I can't say enough about Diamond View. I mean, they took a fledgling company by a wedding videographer who created it. In 10 years, they're a $100+ million company. So that's a hell of a growth.
Yeah. It's better than I've done.
Oh.
I mean, I have growths, but they're like, I'm back.
Under my arm.
Yeah, one of my nutsack.
Is that what happens when you guys get old?
Yeah, you start getting shit
Yeah,
growing all over.
yeah, because you're fat and you can't wash
Sucks.
everything.
I'm not fat.
Well, you will be. You're gonna get old. Old people are fat. This is what happens, man. We live off of McDonald's and fast food. So
I actually don't eat any fast food.
shut up. Why are you like always?
What do you eat?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do I eat? I have vegetables, fruits. I have smoothies. I do all that. I love me some red meat, but
Peanut butter
I eat it about
chocolate
twice a
smoothie
week.
is the best.
What is it?
Peanut butter chocolate.
I can't do
smoothie?
peanuts. I'm allergic.
You know, you
Jesus
like
Christ, shut up.
chicken? You like chicken?
I like chicken.
Like fried chicken? No.
No. I've never been to a Chick-fil-A. I've never been
Oh.
to what?
Killing me. Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
It's like my favorite.
I mean, I just.
Oh, it's Chick-fil-A?
Dude, they're so
Yeah.
good. Man.
Wow.
I've never been to a Publix either.
This is what you're gonna get at Chick-fil-A. You know you're gonna get hot, good food. You're gonna get
Do I know that,
amazing
though?
service.
Do I know that,
You're gonna
though?
get through this giant drive-through in like 5 minutes, and your order's gonna be correct.
You know we're not sponsored by Chick-fil-A, right?
And I have an app, and I get all this free food all the time.
This is what you get at Chick-fil-A.
Oh.
You get a bun,
And
one piece of chicken,
that's all you
and
need.
2 pickles. That's all $19.
No.
Maybe a half a square of mayonnaise.
Yeah, maybe not even you gotta ask for it, and then they look at you like you're the Antichrist.
Like $7.
What? They're just like, mayonnaise? That's not in our
I don't
Bible.
need it. I just
No,
eat it right
you know
out of
what
the
I
package.
get? No, man.
So good.
No.
Who do you like?
Checkers.
Checkers?
Yeah, because you
Oh
got
God,
big
Checkers.
dude.
What?
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
one, if I need to go to the bathroom, it's Checkers. Because that shit will run right through me, probably before I get home. It's a good chance of a shit my pants.
Dude, the Big Buford alone is reason enough to just end humanity. Like that should just be the universe saying, just end the experiment. We all need to die. That should not exist.
Man, it's amazing. With bacon. Oh, so good. What's your favorite places? What do you? Because you're always like posting stuff, Kyle. You're like engine number 9, and I'm drunk at this place tonight. And no one's playing shitty music. On
Tony's
the
like,
jukebox.
I try to drink and eat locally. Though if you saw my car, it was just from the floorboards to the ceiling stacked with McDonald's boxes. In fact, no one can actually get in my car because of it. But
That's all right. I respect that.
No.
I respect that a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, for me, I just eat fruit and stuff. I don't know. I don't really.
I don't. Well, I have children. We don't have time to fruit. I don't have time for fruit.
I know. Who has time to eat
Yeah.
fruit?
I mean,
I have kids. Man.
I'm a single person with a
You're-
cat.
You're single with a cat, and okay, this is how it works for me. A Hostess box is 99 cents. A bag of grapes is $8.95.
Right. Exactly. That's the other thing is like
Yeah,
eating healthy is expensive.
yeah,
Like, should I get this 2 for $5 quarter pounders
right.
or the salad for $10? Like,
Yeah,
I'm going for the quarter pounders.
yeah. Give me 2 fillet of fish,
No.
special sauce, lettuce, cheese.
My
And
fish
then-
diet for the evening.
Yeah,
As much as you guys talk about this stuff, you imagine that we were sponsored, but we're not.
we're not.
We should be.
No.
You guys need to, like, pretty much this whole spiel. You should guys be pitching to like Chick-fil-A and McDonald's.
They're not gonna give a shit about us.
It's true.
They're not gonna give a shit about us.
Ciao.
you know who's one of the largest film investors in the Southeast?
McDonald's.
The owner of Chick-fil-A.
Really?
Wow.
Does it have to be a Christian film?
No, they're shrewd. So believe it or not, Pinewood Studios, the one in Atlanta, was originally owned in large part by the Richard Caffey, who owns Chick-fil-A. If you look at like movies that he produced, it's everything from like Black Widow to some Avengers movies. Like he's done a lot of movies.
Wow.
Oh wow, interesting.
And none of them have
That's a fun fact.
Chick-fil-A in them.
It's a fun fact.
Yeah, it's weird. No, at the same time, he also donates to the Koch brothers, who actively lobby against film incentives, even though he's one of the largest, investors.
Well, you gotta
in
hedge your
film.
bets.
You got to bet on black and red.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because they actively lobby against film incentives in all the neighboring states, but not in Georgia, where the capital misuse are at. So,
Maybe it's like
film incentives elsewhere drives business to them.
Right.
It's all shady.
Oh
It's politics, man, and I can't wait to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till I'm about 55, and then I'm gonna jump into Tyler's seat.
I've always wanted to run for Congress, but I don't have enough that appeal. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you have to be rich to actually work in Congress, not just because it costs a lot of money to run, but you can get paid nothing. Like I'm talking like $40,000, somewhere in that range.
why would you do it? Who cares? You can go work at McDonald's and make that now.
Well, you could. That's what I'm saying. So you either are so wealthy you just don't care,
Right.
because it takes up most of your day,
Yeah.
or you're just naive and want to change the world, and then quickly realize
I
you
just
can't
want to
do
make
anything.
movies and make money.
Yearning for that power.
You know,
Yeah.
my two goals
It's
is
the power.
either become very successful at filmmaking or win the lottery. Those are the two options I got.
Really?
And
Okay, we're on crypto, right?
I play both of those.
Hey, crypto. You're doing crypto now, right?
Yeah, I am.
That's the
I
thing.
am.
That's
Very
a
excited.
sort of lottery.
Are you doing some crypto there, Tyler?
You know what? I was rolling the Dogecoin like really early on, so I bought it when it was, I think, like 7 or 8 cents.
Yeah.
And then did that huge run up to, I think, about 28 cents. Then I sold off, and I haven't got back in it because it just crashed.
Yeah.
But I made a very nice profit, and
Yeah.
went on vacation. That was good.
Yeah, everything kind of crashed over the weekend, but I expected that after Christmas.
Yeah. This is a slow time for
Yeah.
crypto.
It's going to build back up, though. Here
Oh,
in
yeah.
a month.
Saitama right now just did a bull run up
Yeah.
to like I think it was up 50%.
I just sat in and watched a bunch of people sacrifice a bunch of money for this thing called Pulse X and Hex. So I don't know what any of that means.
Pulse, Sex, and Hex?
Pulse
Sounds like a great band name.
I know, right? It sounds like witches doing a hex on strippers or something.
Right.
On your pulse.
Pulse.
On your pulsating hex.
It's called Pulse X. And then, I don't know. It's, who knows? I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't even know.
I think hex is the crypto on Pulse of the exchange.
But I learned that anyone can make a coin,
Yes.
right? Anyone can make a coin. You can build it up on a blockchain, whatever the fuck that is.
Blockchain is like Ethereum or yeah.
I'm already
See, when I talked to him, it's just like
I'm already asleep.
like
dude.
talking to the wall.
No. Well, my point is why don't we make, Tyler, you can come in on this with us, the four of us here, and we'll make a production coin, right, that goes specifically for independent filmmakers.
Like, what do you mean? How do you make it valuable?
I don't know, however fuck other people make fucking coins valuable. How do you
They
do
make
that?
uses for them.
That's what we're doing, film. The use is
But it
production.
has to be exchanged for.
Exchange it for film.
Oh, God.
That's a crazy idea, but someone actually tried that a couple years ago in Tampa. They made a movie called, what the hell was it? Something Letters. I don't remember. It had one of the actors from Vikings TV series in it. Anyway, they turned it into a blockchain release, and you had to actually purchase it using crypto, and you could only watch it through a crypto app. It was very interesting how they did it. Because that made more money, never went anywhere.
Like
But it was an interesting idea.
That sounds like an early version of an NFT.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
That's basically the,
That's close to it, yeah.
I think that's the future of this low budget film stuff is people are gonna start selling as NFTs.
Yeah, I don't even understand NFTs either, man. I'm trying to learn all this crypto because I don't want to be behind the times. I mean,
Yeah.
and I consider myself a pretty dumb guy. So, I'm just trying to learn
Yeah.
as everyone else is. And
We all started in the same position. We just start reading and researching.
yeah, so now I'm learning a lot about crypto the last month or so, and I'm really trying to put money into it. I'm pretty happy with what I've done with Shiba. I'd like to put more money into it. But I have a lot of shares in Shiba, not as many as you do. You got fucking 40 million or something.
20.
You have 20 million in
20 million.
Shiba?
And I have Saitama. I have about $1 billion. And
Yeah.
then I have.
But the problem is that shit's not going to make any money for another couple of years.
Which is fine.
That's any retirement stock, man. I mean, we got to wait on it.
Yeah.
And in Shinja, I have like 1 quadrillion. So basically, I have to wait for it to hit 8 zeros and a 1.
Well, I just learned that
It's like 10 million.
I don't know how well you are versed in
Yeah.
in any of this. Anybody, you, Chris,
Goes over my
Tyler.
head. Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
But I didn't know like they cap it off, right? So like Bitcoin's capped off at like what, 1 trillion coins?
Well, they started with X amount of coins, and then they put them into circulation. And then what people are doing are mining for these equations that.
Oops, someone's
Tyler
gone.
said,
Did
"Fuck
Tyler
this, I'm
leave?
out."
Did you leave, Tyler?
What happened?
I don't
Said,
know.
Fuck this
He's
crypto
gone.
shit. I'm
He's
out.
out. Our field commissioner left. He's like, it's no longer about film. I'm gone.
He got cut.
I'm gone. How did he get cut?
I don't know. Signal? Looks like something just failed. There.
We'll get him back.
He's coming back right now.
There he is.
It just crashed.
We lost you. Did you know that?
It said the free trial subscription to Zoom had ended.
Oh, yeah.
Is that you?
Well, I guess my credit card bounced. No.
No. See ya.
No, we're on now. I don't know why. It's been. Today was the only day it actually had a problem. We talked on this for hours in one day.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Uh,
Interesting.
anyways, I don't know where I was.
We were talking about crypto.
Yeah, it's boring.
Because you don't want to understand it.
I do want to understand. I want to make money, bro.
Well, we all want to make
You know
money.
what I mean? Like, that's why I go and get investors and make movies.
Yeah.
You know? Now I need to find investors to put into crypto.
Yeah.
Make money that way.
Man.
I'm pretty good at
We
that.
should make a movie.
Joe, did you look at that Kevin Smith film that shot down here? Kilroy was here.
No, I'm bitter about that because I know everyone who worked on it, and I asked the line producer, who we all know very well, to get me on it, and he was like, "Oh, I can't get you on it." I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
"Shut
the
the
shit
fuck
I got
up,
too.
dude! Fuck off, man."
Well, they could not get it distributed. This is a Kevin Smith film, so that probably says something right there.
Yeah.
So they have tried trading an NFT, and they can't sell that either. So it tells me something was probably really wrong with it.
Well, I mean,
Oh.
like I just did a movie last year that I was trying to shoot here. Sorority of the Damned, and one of our good friends, who's I consider the upper echelon of the film community here. He looked at everything, and him and another good friend of ours, they were like, "Listen, this can't be done here, man. You're gonna have to take this and do this somewhere else." And I did. We went out to California and we shot Sorority out there. And
But you didn't have a lot of money for that. You had, respectively, more money I think you ever had for a feature, if I'm not mistaken. But
$1 million.
yeah, which is amazing. And you had this perfect confluence of just timing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you had $1 million during a pandemic.
Right.
You were able to get some of the best crews available because no one else was working at the
Right.
time. So
In LA.
that was just a perfect storm, bud.
Dude, I can't even say like how synergistically that was some amalgamation of like the perfect storm, Like you're 100% right, and it really, I was sad because me, man, I've been wanting to be the fucking big shot here in Tampa since like 1995 when I started doing improv and shit. So to take my biggest budget yet and have to go to like California to do it, that was kind of upsetting to me. I really wanted to, I still want to be that guy in Tampa. I still want to be that guy where I'm like, people will be like, "Yo, Joe lives in Tampa. Fucking, let's do all our horror movies out in Tampa." I'm still working towards that, Tyler. Help me.
Help me.
Then these other guys, I can't even get to fucking talk to me. Like these other producers in the area who are making these bigger movies, and like Restano and those guys. Like they won't even answer my emails. Like they won't even. I met the dude. I shook his hand, and he blew me off like I was a fucking nobody. And I'm just like, okay, cool, man. That's all right. I don't.
That's how it is here, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's by themselves.
So it's
Everyone knows better.
Everybody's got their little cliques.
But I mean, he's successful, Restano. He's becoming a giant fucking producer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that's not to say that we're not going to come in behind him and fucking just crush it. You don't know, man.
I mean, we
But
all
it hurts because you're trying to also build it up, and it's. I feel like, you're you're still not good enough.
Well, a lot of times it's luck, and two, it's also making money. So you turn a profit for the first time on a feature, and I think you're going to with sorority.
Yeah.
That just all of a sudden you're in a different league altogether, and people that were picking up the phone for you yesterday are picking up your phone for you today.
Yeah.
Look at Joe, and I'm friends with Joe. He's done a lot of movies at this point.
Yeah.
But this year he has 3 films that are probably going to be nominated for an Academy Award in some categories.
Yeah.
That's just pure luck. I mean, they took a chance on Pig,
Yeah.
which, if you look at the trailer, you're thinking, like, Nicolas Cage is chasing a pig. This looks insane.
I would
And all of a
watch
sudden,
5
it's
hours
on
of
most
that.
critics' top 10 films of the year. They just did Passing with Tessa Thompson for either Amazon or Netflix.
Yeah.
That was nominated for a ton of awards. And all that was just taking chances and risking, all of those could have been bad bets. They just turned out to be good bets, and now all of a sudden he's in a different league.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just takes one.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
Sometimes that's all you need. Just one, and then you're just like, and then you retire.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't that? Well, I don't want to retire.
No, I'm saying if you
I
make
want to be I want to be a thorn in Tyler's side forever.
forever.
I want the next film. I just want to be like, Joe, I don't know. I got to close half of Tampa down because Joe's making a fucking horror movie. I don't know.
Now, do you also write scripts as well? Do you have any script that you do or produce or anything?
Not in a long time. Since I moved out of the film commission, I got out of the filmmaking business. But Joe's worked on a couple of my features in the past.
Oh.
Yeah.
We've done quite a few. But, I did Sunlight Jr. with Amy Watson, Matt Dillon, Spring Breakers, a ton of crappy horror movies, a lot of stuff over the years. But being healthcare sounded really, really good. So I was like, I'm going to go over there.
Why does horror have such a stigma? Like everything is like you just named all these movies. And you're like, yeah, crappy horror movies. Like why?
Because you weren't got crappy horror movies.
No, okay.
It was a good horror movie. I told you it was. So this is not a good horror movie.
It seems like when you're trying to find locations or a producer or whatever, and the person asks what kind of movie it is, like when you say it's horror, they shut down. Like it's
I find the
unbelievable.
opposite. When I say, when I come,
Unbelievable. I think most people actually enjoy horror movies. That's why it's usually a safe bet for an independent filmmaker. Because you can make it for not a lot of money.
Right.
You're probably going to turn a profit as long as the minimum guarantee at the end of the day is a decent one. So I think most people they like horror movies. I mean, if someone came to me and said, "Hey, can I shoot in your house?" I tell them no because I know what goes into it. But normally I'd say, "Okay, cool, horror film, sure, that sounds great."
I don't think you tell me no.
Maybe they just look you up, Chris, and like, oh, this is James Lato. They did this movie and these movies now.
What is this, Reaper Films?
That could be it. Hi, this is Chris Lato. Wait, I looked your IMDb up. Nope, we're not doing it.
I remember.
Could be a you problem, Chris.
Do you remember a 2-day production meeting we had for a period piece movie where you had to go rewrite the entire budget on the fly?
I did. What was that for?
Journey into Hell. No, Journey.
No, it wasn't for Hank. It was for the second one. In the
Yeah,
what was his
19.
name?
Journey into Hell.
Journey to Hell. Thank you. Yes, I do remember that.
And that's a prime example that I live my life by now, because that guy had all of us convinced that he was giving us $5 million, and then he just disappeared, man. Didn't have any money. We had a 2-day fucking meeting. He flew people in from Seattle. Our production designer came down from New York. We sat in a room for 2 days discussing this entire movie. Everybody had presentations. Everybody. The production designer, the visual effects artist, the practical effects artist, on what we were going to do with this dude. He tells us he's sold. He's going to give us $5 million on Monday, and then ghosted us forever.
Jeez.
Turned out to be
Didn't he show up to his front door naked? Yeah, to try to get a check.
Yes. When I went to his house to meet him, he was fucking naked.
That's a good story.
And you know what's funny is like he opened the door. He's like, "Yo, I'm naked." And I was like, "I don't give a fuck. You're giving me $5 million."
Like I'll get on my knees.
No, I wasn't even fucking gonna do that. I punched him through his pool. But it never happened. It never happened. This dude turned out to be such a fuck. He's not even on like Facebook or anything. I tried looking him up, man. He's like ghosted, gone. He's got a daughter. She's on Facebook, but he's not. What a fucking like.
Was the house at least nice?
No, you know, it was fake. It all seemed fake to me. His whole house, his mansion, it all looked fake to me, like a front. But that's an example that I live my now. That lesson taught me how not to listen to some investors,
Right.
because some of these people just want to play the fucking game.
Yep.
They want to
Yeah.
take you out to lunch. They want to talk about what they're gonna do. They're gonna do all this shit for you. We had Chris Evans on board. Remember we met with fucking Chris Evans' manager and shit, and he went down. Dude, that was before Captain America.
It was. I mean, that was back when we had a $5 million movie, though.
Yeah.
And to your point, you know, when you were making Sorority, you had $1 million. That was the absolute correct budget for that movie.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and During the Hell, it was a period piece, man. It was effects heavy. You need $5 million minimum.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it would not have been worth it to have made that for less.
No. Well, yeah, and you know what? Also, though, Tyler, I don't think I was ready. I don't think I was ready. You know, it would have been nice to have it, but I didn't have the right team in place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not you guys, but other people on that team. They weren't the right people.
Yeah,
You
a few
know?
years ago, I had a movie. We had $250,000, and I had Sean Patrick Flannery on board to play a detective in it.
Nice.
And we had the whole cast set, locations were set, and I was with Brandon Hyde, and he was going to be the DP, and we were at our last location in Sarasota. We were scouting it, and we're walking out, and now we're 2 weeks from shooting,
Yeah.
and the guy calls me, and he's like, "Yeah, we lost our investment." I'm like, "What does that mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, the bankruptcy court in New York froze this guy's assets, and he can't get the money, and that included the money we had." And I'm like, "So what does that mean? Like, what are you saying to me right now?" And we lost our budget.
Yeah.
So now, whenever somebody's like, "I won't do any work until I see a check,"
Yeah.
there's no freaking
Well, that's the
way.
way. I mean,
Lesson learned. I mean,
outside of the deck
learn
and
lessons.
the proposal building and the meetings with the investor.
Yep.
You know, but now because of things like the way that Journey went and the way that I went up to Alaska to shoot a movie, this guy was going to give me money, and I went up there, and then I'm in Alaska, and he pulls his money out, and it's like, okay, you know, all right. But now, because of those experiences, man, I now know that, like, I know when I'm talking to an investor, I got key phrases I use, and if they can't answer those
Yeah, I wouldn't get out of money or wouldn't get out of bed in the morning unless money was put in escrow. Like it has to be in a bank account that I can actually see and verify.
I need to be able
Yeah.
to access the funds before I do anything.
lesson learned.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of GoFundMe type of movies that get projected? They're like, okay, let me match this. Is there anything that you can help us with on the side of that? Like they'll match the GoFundMe or whatever. Tyler.
No, I mean, I get a lot of requests, to tell the truth. People that want us to help promote GoFundMe campaigns or somehow use our incentive towards that. And then a little bit of vetting and some question asking, and they usually disappear immediately. So that's just a minimum threshold you got to meet, guys, and they can't do that. So they disappear pretty quickly.
Wow. Very strange.
Yeah. And how's Tampa looking for this year? Is there a lot of projects coming in?
I mean, it's hard to say. Commercials, yes. Last year we did over 580 commercials in Tampa Bay, which honestly is some of the best numbers in the country as far as commercials go. It's insane how many commercials we're doing. Unfortunately, on the TV series side, just nothing. Nothing's going to shoot here except for reality. Again, reality's not incentivized, so we got a ton of unscripted shows that are either in the process of filming or should be filming here this coming year. It's really the independent scene. It's keeping the lower tiered crews working here in Tampa Bay, and those are your Lifetime films, your Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
Those are going to keep shooting here, and it's less about the incentive and more about what Florida provides. So Hallmark, for example, largely shot in Vancouver for everything, but audiences started noticing the same locations were popping up in movies, and that became a big problem. They tried going to North Carolina, thinking it would be sunny. Their production schedule was so quick, it does not look sunny. They need someplace that looks metropolitan and looks fun, sunny, summery. So they're having to come to Florida one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I think that'll continue to be the case. Miami's probably too expensive for their budgets. That's why they're looking on the West Coast of the St. Pete, Tampa area. So that'll keep going. I think we'll probably have another 4 or 5 movies this year, Joe, in that range. And when I say that range, it's somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million.
Right.
No horror.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
They just had that Hallmark in Dunedin, didn't they? That they were shooting one of those.
Well, it was not a Hallmark branded film, but it was a movie shot intending for the Hallmark audience. That makes sense. So they were trying to sell it to Hallmark. I'm not sure if they did it or not.
A dramedy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, Taste of Love, I think.
That none of
Is
us.
that the name of it?
None. Who knows? I don't know. It says Hallmark on it. I just immediately about face and walk away.
You know how when I say horror and people deflate, that's when they
Same way
say
it's
Hallmark to me.
Yeah.
That's all about it. Oh, I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, Hallmark. Okay.
Well, Jed, are you going to be shooting more of your show?
South of Central?
Yeah.
I'm trying, man. I haven't really. We shot the one episode for season 2. I haven't. I've got the whole thing written, but I'm looking. I think I need money for that, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I can convince
I do.
anyone to come on board.
I do too for my show too. I have 3 episodes written, but I'm just like I gotta find out locations and stuff.
Yeah, I I shot the first season pretty quickly, pretty amateurly, and season 2 I'd like to be a little bigger and a little better, and I'm gonna put some money behind it. But I haven't had a chance to even focus on finding financing for it, because we're doing sorority.
Yeah.
And now I got signed to a publisher, so I'm working on this book I was at. It's 4 days late already, so I missed my publishing date, which was
4 days late and you're sitting here.
I know. I only got like 3 chapters left, so I'll push those out by Friday.
Okay.
That's
good.
Yeah. So, but my goal is to always be here and shoot movies here and my shows here and all that shit. Which is, because I love it here, man. This is my This is my fucking place, man.
Yeah, but at some point you do need money, man. I mean, that's no matter how passionate you are about something, you can only trade favors so many times before you run out of favors, and it just doesn't match the quality that should be in your head, You imagine it one way, and it just never comes out that way because you don't have the cash to do it right.
Right, exactly. And you can't, eventually you start to realize, like, you need a more professional sound guy, and you need a more professional gaffer, and you need a better location, and a production manager, and a line producer, and money's involved, and you're probably going to need insurance, and you're probably going to have to make sure that your crew's not going to fucking shoot somebody,
Yeah.
So.
This made me think of something. A lot of these independent filmmakers come to me and say, "Oh, we're shooting sizzle, to try to get investors." That is the absolute worst idea ever. Because you're going to trade favors to get a mediocre product. And let me tell you, investors, I don't care who you're talking to, are the least imaginative people on the planet. So whatever you show them is exactly what they're going to see in their head. They cannot imagine it being any better than that quality.
Yep.
So unless you can shoot a sizzle at the same quality level as what you want the actual film to look like, i.e. $1 million+ project, do not show it to anybody. Don't waste your fucking time, because the investors will look at that and think, "Oh my God, you are the most mediocre filmmaker I've ever seen. Why would I invest in this? This is terrible."
Right. Yep. They want to be spoon-fed.
Well, here's what I've learned about investors who are real investors and will give you real money. They don't care about the script.
No, they don't. It's an investment. It's an ROI.
They don't give a shit. They want to know if they can make money on it.
Yep.
And they don't care. You got a nice fancy deck that looks good and it's got some ideas in it? Perfect. What's the ROI?
Yep.
Are you
Bottom
going to
line.
make money at it? All right. If I give you this much money, how much can I make? That's it, man. And every investor that has ever given me money, and I'm talking from $70,000 to $1 million, they've never even looked at the script.
Yep. No, they don't care at all. Yeah. It's literally, we could put this into cryptocurrency right now.
Right.
Or give you a couple dollars.
Right.
Let's give you a greater return over a shorter amount of time.
What's the fastest return?
Yep.
What's the fastest return?
Well, yeah. I mean,
2 years or fucking 20 in crypto. Or are they going to buy another real estate? And right now, real estate in Tampa is becoming really hard to acquire.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's becoming really
Low
hard.
inventory.
Very expensive.
In fact, that's why we got our $1 million, because they were tired of buying real estate.
Right time, right.
Yeah.
Right time, right money.
Yeah.
That's how that happened.
No, it's fun.
I
Well,
guess.
you got any recommendations, Tyler, for for the independent filmmakers out there and what they can do to try to achieve their goals?
Yeah, it's something I hate telling filmmakers, but if no one's going to see your movie, you didn't make a movie, you made a home video. And that is tragic, but that's the reality.
Yep.
So don't try to make a project that doesn't have a path to actually be seen. It doesn't have to be successful, because sometimes that's not the ROI of an independent filmmaker, right? They just are trying to get their work out there. But if there's no path to it actually being seen broadly by people, then don't make it. Stay away from it. So what does that mean? Start looking at channels and what people are actually purchasing. So if you look at Amazon or Hulu or Netflix, they have a ton of super low budget independent films. They'll be crushed by the algorithm, right? It'll never show up in someone's recommended lists, but at least you can share a link to somebody and they can actually view it somewhere. So how do you do that? You start looking at what's selling at AFM, see what's selling at NatP, see what Netflix and Hulu, whoever, bought at the Cannes Film Market. Target towards that. If you want to make a romantic comedy and no one's buying romantic comedies, don't make a romantic comedy, if that makes sense. And you see so many people misjudge the market. There was a time when horror movies did not sell at all. Think about the early 2000s. It just wasn't there. Same thing, early 90s too, before Scream sort of reinvented the slasher. Horror films have just taken a nosedive as far as sales go. So you've got to actually read the market, see what's being sold and purchased, and then try to write something that fits that genre, and take note of what people are purchasing. If all of a sudden you see a glut of kids' movies with dogs, probably stay away from dogs and children in general, but that'd probably be a better bet than making a romantic comedy or a horror movie if no one's buying horror movies at the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just simple things like that people just don't think about because they're so trapped in their own head wanting to make something. Again, if no one sees it, what the hell did you make? You made a home video. So start there. Next, absolutely write to what you are able to actually perform at. So if you know you have access to a creepy house, write something to fit the creepy house, right? Don't write something in your head that does not necessarily exist or you don't have access to readily, because you're not going to have the money to get it or build it if you don't.
I was just talking to Sean about that.
Just simple things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed.
That actually brings me to my segue for our sponsors, IndieMovieScreen.online. It's a filmmaker online distribution website where you can actually stream movies, buy movies, and rent movies. So we have LaunchMovieHaven.online as well as for launch movies, exploitation movie database. Basically the same thing. It's an online distribution website for streaming, viewing, and renting movies. Launch Movie Online.
Hey, how do you know what AFM is purchasing? Like, what's the best way to find that out?
Oh, geez, just pick up the trades. So whether it's AFM, NatP, or Cannes, during the actual course of the trade show, they have daily, if not hourly, publications in Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Screen USA, Real Screen, Locations, like all of the big trade magazines are covering these conventions heavily. And if you just go on the websites, literally they're showing what's buying, what it was purchased for, all of these things, minute by minute.
That's great info.
Absolutely.
And do you recommend going to AFM if you had a project that was finished and you're looking for a buyer? Like, is that something that you need to do, is go to AFM to try to get it bought?
Not if you're cold calling. So if your entire sales strategy is showing up in a clown costume to sell your clown movie and walk the convention floor and try to get noticed, you're not going to sell shit. You need to actually go to these conventions with meetings in mind that are already pre-scheduled.
Right.
So you know all the distributors are going to be there. Make sure if you're going to go to a NatP or an AFM that you've reached out to all these people who are going to be there, have set meetings and schedules, because you would get nothing done in the trade room floor by itself. You have to have those schedules pre-approved.
Right. Would you recommend a sales agent?
No. I honestly, I wouldn't. Let me put it this way. If they're going to ask you for a bunch of money and it's not being sold on commission alone, that is not the person to get in bed with. They're going to travel and have a really good time on your dollar, and then you'll see no money back because they're going to expense you after the fact, saying, "Oh well, I made the poster, I did this, I did that," and they walk away with a check and make nothing. So I think a lot of the stuff, especially at the independent level, you can get done and negotiate on your own, and then once you've gotten to a more appropriate sized production, like $500,000, $1 million plus dollars, then you can start thinking about sales agents, and a lot of time those are prepackaged by the actors that you've hired, and the actual agencies themselves can help sell your movies without having a salesperson involved.
I had a sales agent once tell me that I wasn't the lead in my own movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did that work out?
Dude, it was the craziest conversation I ever had with anybody. He was I don't know if he's still in the area or not, but he was pretty big in the area doing sales. And he saw a movie I did called Nightfalls, and we were standing outside talking to him, and he's like, he goes, what'd you have to do with the movie? And I was like, I wrote it, directed it, and I starred it. And he goes, you're in it? And I said, yeah. He's like, no, you're not. And I said, yeah, I play the deputy sheriff, dude.
You're in at least 2/3 of the film.
I said, I'm the ranger. And he's like, you are? And I was like, yeah. He's like, that's not you, man.
Were you wearing a disguise?
No, I mean, I looked like Groucho Marx at the time. No, I was fucking just standing. And I looked at him, and I said, what are you talking about, dude? And I was like, I'm fucking in the movie. And I just walked away. I was like, all right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've gone to a lot of these conventions, man, Canada especially, and you see sales agents that are just enjoying a vacation on someone else's dime. It's amazing the scam that a lot of these guys put out. So if you're under $500,000, do it yourself. There's definitely means and ways to sell a movie and make a couple dollars. You're not going to make a fortune off of it. Get that out of your mind. You're not going to catch lightning in a bottle like a Blair Witch, but you can do it without putting up with the bullshit that a lot of these sales agents do.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it's better to just, not only that, but you're talking to the purchaser directly. There's no middleman. They're not going to hide fees. You know, you get, like you said, man, you get these sales agents, and they're like, well, we spent $35,000 just on posters. How? It cost me $100. I made it in Photoshop. What are you talking about?
That's a distributor, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
But honestly, though, is me going back to the posters. So don't discount the marketing materials that you can create and generate while you're making your independent film.
Right.
That should be being done simultaneously with your production. So make sure you're getting high quality set photos. Make sure that someone's actually doing graphics for you, so you have a package. Make sure you're not an idiot and can actually pass quality control through the distributor. That's one thing that I see people really screw up on, is that they've made their film, they're trying to sell it, and they don't have the bare materials needed to actually sell it. So someone's offering you a check, and you're like, hey, if you pass QC, no problem, quality control, we're gonna buy this for this amount. Cool. And then they send them a file over, like, well, where's your M&E track? We can't sell this overseas without having subtitles. Is this mastered in 5.1 audio because we need this for this or that and the other. All these things needs to be going into your plan as far as post-production goes and your budgeting. Otherwise, you've made a paperweight that can't actually be sold because it's not technically up to the standards of the distributors.
Yeah.
And that's stuff you can't go back and do after the fact either. It needs to be done simultaneously with production. And it's usually audio that's going to screw someone up.
Oh yeah,
Always audio.
that's why it's so hard to find great audio people.
Always audio. Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just went through that with South of Central.
Yeah.
Dude, 3, 4, or 5 weeks of back and forth trying to get that audio fixed.
Yeah. In some markets only want subtitles. Other markets want overdubbing. And in that case, do you have the audio stems that you can provide the distributor as well, so they can go back and dub in the right vocals for the characters that they're trying to sell. I mean, all these things needs to be done in advance, and a lot of people just don't think about it. They're too busy making the movie and not thinking about how they're selling the movie.
Yeah, you should think about how you're going to sell it before you even make it.
100%.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
The marketability should be like the first thing you think of.
Well, I always try to like think of like the poster.
Yeah.
Like, what's my poster gonna look like, and how's that gonna?
Well, that's what sells a movie. Your trailer
Yeah.
and your poster. I mean, that's
Yeah. And
the
what is the
first two
market?
things people see.
I hate
Yeah.
it when I'm trying to like. The thing I hate most about being a filmmaker is when you talk to somebody who's maybe not that experienced, but maybe you're going to them for some financing or something, or they're trying to sound overly experienced, and they're just like, "Well, what's your demographic and what's your market and what's it, who's it geared towards and what's your blah 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 blah." And I'm just like, "Shut up! You don't know. First of all, you don't know what you're talking about. Second of all, it's a horror film. The market is 18 to 35
Everyone.
on everybody. You know, and then they're like, "Well, I read that in Romania, you got to have a blonde-haired girl in your movie." It's like, what are you talking about? I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just ranting at this point.
That's what he does.
But
It's funny, Joe, going back to what you said about investors, how the real investors never actually read the script; they just want to know what the ROI is.
yeah,
Most buyers are just going to look at the poster and who's attached. That's all they care about, because they know their own demographics well enough to say that, okay, that poster and these people attached to this movie are going to sell to this person, and we'll get clicks from it.
Yep.
Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, they're no different than Blockbuster Video. People come in and they walk the wall. All they're looking at is covers and who they recognize, and they either click on it or they don't. No different. It's just a virtual space to do it in now, and that's what buyers are looking at. Have a cool poster. Have actors that matter, and actors that matter are changing over time. Remember, it's the old Blockbuster technique of putting up someone's face in the poster they're in 2 seconds of the movie.
yeah,
You still rented the movie.
yeah,
You put your money. So put your money where it's going to be the most effective.
right.
If you can get Eric Roberts for a day, not a well-known A-list celebrity by any means, but someone's going to click on that because they recognize his face.
Yeah,
Was it worth it? Probably.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Eric Roberts, he's such a nice guy.
He can get a couple of views.
He can't remember lines though.
Well, he only needs to be in it for 5 minutes.
No, seriously, my buddy James just worked with him. You know James Blasimo?
We just double him.
He did. He's done a bunch of stuff. They have to. He's worked with him on 2 movies, and he was telling me that they have to literally stand off camera with cue cards
Oh my god.
for all of his lines because he was in an accident like 10 years ago that nobody knows about, and he can't remember shit anymore.
Yeah, I had an actress like that before. We had to like literally hold the script in front of her
Well,
face.
that's inexperience, and
Yeah.
She was supposedly
experienced.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking
Bullshit, dude.
about. I do.
To me, like on this level, on like our level, when someone tells me their
I
experience,
wasn't there,
We
but
flew her in. No, we found her.
I know.
Flew her in and all the shit.
I'm sorry. We had,
Nightmare.
we had, I don't know, I want to say we had 300 submissions for sorority, and I extensively researched their background because you look at their like experience or you look at their training.
Yep.
And because we knew we had to shoot fast, and I wanted actors who knew their lines.
Right.
But not only that, I like kind of an open format. I don't mind you improvising in the scene, but you need to at least
Get the point across.
point across of the scene.
Yeah.
Right? If the point is you have to say something, the point is this line
You need the context.
has to say this.
Yes.
Because it's about this book or it's about this thing. Say that. If you can't even do the minimum on that, I don't want you around.
Yeah.
I can't. We don't have time to afford the ability to teach you how to do the thing you already said you know how to do.
Right.
And nothing makes me more mad than when people come in and they want, like for an audition, like it'll say wear jeans and combat boots for the audition. I had a girl come in. She was in a mini skirt and stilettos, and I was
Because you
like,
can't follow direction.
ma'am, you're gonna have to fall down in this scene. I need you to fall down and do some shit. And then she's like trying to do it in the skirt. Her skirt comes all the way up, and you see her thong and shit. And I'm just like, all right, this isn't. That's the biggest thing that irks me is that when people say, "Well, I have plenty of experience."
Right.
Okay, dude, what's your training? Because I've been training since 1995. So
That's the thing. Like when I post on, say, Facebook and different groups for casting, and I give them specific directions on how to submit their headshot,
Yeah.
and then they private message me or comment on the post.
Yep.
I'm like, you can't follow direction. Like,
Well, they're
You're out.
trying to take the back door in.
yeah, well, that doesn't work.
You know, the only way that's going to work is if I get your back door. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I would never, ever.
Fun fact, that's how I met Joe.
I'm out of here. Anyways, Tyler, what do you? The future of Tampa's looking good, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to continue to grow as a market as far as commercials go. Maybe the state gets its head out of its ass at some point and
Tampa's
goes back to
beautiful,
filming
man.
cinemas. I think there's probably a good bet that'll happen in the next 5 years, which seems like a maternity, but things are trying to move that way, and I think we're making some progress.
Well,
And I think digital filmmaking is sort of revolutionizing the way productions film at the moment, and Florida is leading the way as far as digital screens go. When I'm saying digital screens, I mean LED volume studios, the same technology that we use for The Mandalorian.
But how though? How does that affect us here in Tampa? Because I know that Lightwave or somebody has one of these giant.
So Diamond View has right now the largest in the United States.
How
They
does
have
that doesn't work for
I think,
me.
8 or 9 of these screens at the moment, and more popping up every day. But the technology is so new, and because of the pandemic, supply chain has not made it easy to get a hold of these, just because the chipsets and the screens and everything else just are not getting to the United States in time, let alone the graphics cards and everything else needed to process them. The fact that we adopted the technology, a lot of the studios in Florida did so early on, has made it now a destination filming place. So if you are a big budget movie and need to film somewhere, cinema or otherwise, you have to go where the technology is if you want to use this particular way of filming.
Yeah.
And we have the studios, most places don't. That'll change over time, but I'd say we probably have a jump start on the industry by a good 2 years at the moment.
That's exactly how I feel with sorority, because we managed to get funding and get a movie shot when everything took a break.
Right.
Yep.
The brakes got hit, and we kept going, and now that put us ahead, not far, 8 months or so, of other films, because next year when we release our movie, this year, October, when we release our movie, we're not going to have a lot of competition because everyone's still trying to play catch up, and the pandemic is still going. People are still on shutdown.
You know what kept filming during the pandemic? A lot of the reality shows. So someone was asking me the other day, it's like, why are all these reality shows releasing right now? It's because production was interrupted for the better part of 2 years.
Yeah.
So it was stuff that was either shot and been sitting on a shelf for 2 years, or it's reality shows. So you're just going to see a glut of these being pushed out through various channels, streaming services, and networks. Because that's all they have right now. So the fact that you shot something during the pandemic, Joe, you're not going to be up against much come October.
And thankfully. And I hope Tampa's planning on doing, like, I don't know, a special premiere for it, or maybe...
I might know someone who might be able to get it in Tampa Theater for you for a premiere.
Yeah, which would be fantastic. It's the perfect place to do it. I love the Tampa Theater. I love Tampa. I love you, sir. You know, I want to see Tampa grow. I want to make films here forever. You know.
Well, you can consider it done as long as your distributor says yes. I can't tell you how many times I've reached out to distributors. It's like, it was shot in Tampa. We don't want to show it in Tampa. It's like, what the hell?
Why? What the fuck you mean? No way,
Wow.
man. That's where I live, bro.
Yeah.
I want Tom Brady at my premiere. I got his rookie card. I didn't.
I hope he stays with the Bucks for another 10 years. It was good for my bottom line.
Yeah, it's good for my bottom too. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. With
The
that
backdoor
said,
jokes.
yeah, he loves that backdoor joke.
Well,
He just loves the backdoor.
that's how I get money.
With that said, Tyler, thank you for joining us on Killer Collab Podcasts. My name is Tony from Florida, Tony B. As always, Chris Lato, Joe Davison. Tyler, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.